welcome to a new edition of Simply ServiceNow. Today, I'm going to be doing a quick overview of some do's and don'ts in managing your CMDB with a demo of the CMDB Data Manager. Hi, my name is Aaron Smith, and I work as a business process consultant and a certified trainer with Volteo Digital. I have had the fortune of having a 30-year career in IT, getting to work with amazing people and technology, the last 13 of which I've been focused on ServiceNow. What we're going to cover in this video is some positive and negative spirals that are possible when working with your CMDB. We'll talk a little bit about the value of a healthy CMDB, and then we'll conclude with how the CMDB Data Manager can help you maintain your CMDB and keep it healthy too. First, let's make sure that we're all on the same page with the terminology. So a CMDB is a configuration management database as defined by ITIL. The configuration management database is unique in that it maintains a list of operational entities, things that we call configuration items or CIs. A CI is any component that your IT determines is critical to delivering or underpinning, enabling the ability to deliver IT services. Could be simply anything tangible or intangible, things like computers, servers, applications and software. But it can go much beyond that. It could be telecommunication equipment or really anything at all, as long as it is identified as being some part of enabling or delivering an IT service. But the CMDB is more than just simply an inventory. It's not just a list of things. It is the relationships between those things that really sets the CMDB apart from other inventories. We can describe a bidirectional relationship between any one CI and one or more other CIs in the CMDB to tell a more rich story, to provide more value to the data that we are maintaining. So for example, we could describe that a computer is virtualized by a server, or that a server virtualizes a computer. We could say software or an application runs on a server, or the server runs particular applications or software. Many processes on the ServiceNow platform depend on a healthy CMDB. They can work without it, but they will be an exponentially more valuable process with it. Things like incident, problem, change, and request within IT service management, security incident and vulnerability response in security operations, or business continuity management in governance, risk, and compliance can all gain much benefit from being able to leverage a healthy CMDB. So let's imagine that you are an individual working in one of these processes and you need to look up a given CI. When you do that search, you not only find your data, but it is timely, it is up to date, it is accurate, it is complete, and it allows you to do your job, whatever that is, whatever that need is within that process. If that happens, you're going to see a level of trust in that data. You're going to get, of course, the value that you needed from that data, and ultimately, you're going to be encouraged to participate actively in continuing to maintain that data so that the next time, whether it be you or a coworker needs to look up a given CI, that they're going to also find complete, accurate, and timely data. And that's how we can create a positive feedback loop within the CMDB. But it starts with having good quality, trusted data first to build that cycle of trust. Unfortunately, it can go the other way too. Beyond just the processes that we've already talked about, many more processes on the ServiceNow platform and even beyond the platform can be impacted by an unhealthy CMDB. So things like hardware and software asset management, human resources and legal services delivery, customer and field service management, order management, and beyond can all be negatively impacted by low quality CMDB, one that does have CIs, but they're inaccurate, missing data, untrusted. So we take that same scenario. You're a user in one of these processes trying to get your work done. You go to look up a CI and maybe you can't find it, or maybe you find it, but it's really stale. It's way out of date and it's missing information, or the information that's there is incomplete. Then of course, you're not going to trust this data in the future the next time you need to look at it. You're not going to get the value that you needed from that data. And of course, you're not going to be encouraged to participate in trying to fix that problem because it probably seems intractable. And so we end up with a negative spiral, a negative feedback loop where it is incredibly hard to create a healthy CMDB and dig ourselves out of that hole. It all starts with one step, and that step, of course, is trying to create healthy, trusted data, even if that means starting as simply as possible. If we do this work, if we invest in our CMDB, which personally I feel is one of the parts of the platform of ServiceNow where a little bit of investment can return a significant ROI, return on your investment, if we are working on that, we are going to get multiple levels of value. Things like better visibility and communication across teams and across processes. We're going to be able to more accurately identify risks and predicting impacts in processes like change management. We're going to do a better job of tracking the total cost of ownership of our services all the way down to individual components within our infrastructure. We're going to be able to better plan and control costs across our enterprise by being able to identify systems that are aging or need to be replaced or patched. We're ultimately going to be able to move from reactive to a proactive stance the more we can invest in this and the more we can trust the data that we're getting out of the ServiceNow CMDB. And so through an investment and continual caring and feeding of our CMDB, it can ultimately become a wheel on the bus that takes us through our digital transformation efforts. So where does the CMDB Data Manager come in? This is a process or a capability that was introduced in the Rome release and continues through today in Utah. It is a no-code, policy-driven framework for configuration managers to allow them to directly define, execute, and maintain the lifecycle of configuration items within the CMDB. The CMDB Data Manager is aligned with the lifecycle states that are described within the Common Service Data Model, or CSDM. It does, as a note, require that you migrate your platform to use the CSDM lifecycle standards before you are able to use the CMDB Data Manager. I've called out two asterisks there to say we're not going to get that much depth in this video, but you can of course read about both of these topics in great detail in the ServiceNow documentation website. One additional potential setting that you can do is if you update your configuration items with either managed by group, change group, approval group, or support group attributes. All of those are baseline references to group fields that you can update on one or all of your CIs. If those values are there, it will also allow you to delegate tasks that are generated by data manager policies. There are 4 core data manager policy types. We have retire, which of course allows us to find, identify, and retire CIs which are no longer in use or no longer being updated. Once a CI is retired, then we can archive that CI. So that is a requirement that it must be retired first before we can run a policy for archiving. So we can archive retired CIs, which are no longer being maintained, no longer are adding value. Or optionally, we can also do a delete policy. A delete policy, of course, allows us to delete the CIs, which of course we no longer want in our CMDB. Archive policies also give you an option to configure at the same time a secondary delete step that will be tracked per a set of days, and I'll cover that in the demo if you stick around for it. Finally, there is attest or attestation policies as well. I won't be covering that any greater detail in my demo, but you can again read more details about that process in the ServiceNow product documentation. Attestation policies basically let us ask or delegate that responsibility to the owners of the CIs to ask them to confirm or attest if those CIs are still around, if they are not something that is maintained through automatic processes like discovery. So now I'm going to move into a demo of the CMDB Data Manager. If you can stick around for a few more minutes, I think you'll find it valuable. If not, thank you very much for being here and listening, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button.